Hello, my name is Hayden Brautigan, and the topic for my senior thesis is based on how people will conform to an idea or action improvised upon them through fear, whether that be fear of excommunication or traditional fear of people who often choose to conform out of fear, even if it's the wrong thing to do. The initial idea that I thought of for my thesis at the senior thesis dinner was to do something on how people take jokes too seriously or can't take a joke, because I thought of doing humor, because I hadn't heard of that being done. But then I realized you couldn't really do that because there's not many books that relate to humor and that specific issue with humor. So I decided that when we had to choose our books, I wanted to reread To Kill a Mockingbird. So I changed that idea up a bit to make it more formal and work better with To Kill a Mockingbird. So I went with this idea of community versus conformity, where people are conforming to stay intact with their community or to stay not social excommunicated or to look like an odd person, such as Atticus. The question I got from my first text that my thesis seeks to solve is what is the cause for somebody or some people to conform or believe some sort of act or idea that they know is wrong but still choose to believe or act with that, whether it be for fear or not. I chose to read 1984 as it contains throughout the plot many examples of people conforming to an idea and acting on the idea whilst knowing it's wrong, such as all the people who act with the crowd and don't want to be brought out so they're vaporized. The book really does show off one of the main causes, I argue, that leads to conformity, fear, and how the party utilizes fear to instill mental conformity and submission within the subjects of Oceania to make sure they believe and act the way they need them to, lest they get vaporized. The reason I included the time that George Orwell talked about shooting an elephant in this paper is because he explains how in the crowd of people behind him, he felt some sort of urge, pressure to shoot this elephant, and he ended up succumbing or conforming to this pressure. That's what the idea of community and conformity branches off from. It's a very good example. He talks about how he knew it was the wrong to do it, but either way, he did shoot this elephant to please the crowd because he conformed to this community standard or idea or desire for him to shoot the elephant, because if he didn't, then they'd all be displeased with him, and he was afraid of that. So that's the main reason I chose to also include this passage from George Orwell. And that pretty much sums up my senior thesis presentation.